We're here to go through our project proposals today, and then we're going to do a quick feedback protocol so that we can refine our projects before we head off to Israel in a couple days. And Mr. Carney is going to walk us through that protocol.
All right, so the first part of the protocol for 2 minutes, we're going to describe what we're thinking for a writing piece. Ask ourselves these questions. What is driving argument, question, or premise? What ideal subjects would you like to interview? What other primary sources would be relevant, feasible to gather? What days are most important for you to gather data to write? And then we'll do 3 minutes of clarifying questions. All participants ask each other clarifying questions, can go both ways for us. 3 minutes of I wonders, etc., additional ideas, thoughts, feedback from participants, and 4 minutes of next steps. So hopefully we'll leave with a clear sense of how to prepare best and exact next steps, and when how to follow up with group, gauge confidence, and figure out what we need in general or from each other.
Laird, are you going to time or do you want me to time?
Can you time?
Yeah.
I was actually looking for the email myself.
That's fine. Hashtag irony. Do you want me to start, or does somebody feel strongly about leading us off?
No, yeah, go ahead. So we're at 2 minutes of listening to you.
Yeah, and I'll
I'm
time. So I've been brainstorming kind of a hybrid argumentative research piece based on looking through readings that I wanted to do in the Israeli Arab Reader, and I realized that pretty much every U.S. president since Carter has had an official peace plan for the Middle East, and so it got me going on this half research, half argumentative policy thing, where I would go and look through the peace plans of each president, starting with Carter, and what those peace plans kind of said implicitly about attitudes towards Israelis and Palestinians. And then from there, the policy position piece would be creating a platform on Israel and Palestine for the next president of the United States. So it's kind of like a what should the incoming president's platform be kind of paper based on both this historical look. And then I thought while we were in the region, folks like Daniel, who works for Seeds of Peace, and then both of our Palestinian contacts, Hashem and Sharuk, work for the United Nations, or are in some ways reporting frequently to the United Nations in Hashem's case. So I thought that those people would be able to give interesting insight into what are the non-negotiables for Israelis and what are the non-negotiables for Palestinians, and starting to look at some middle ground. I'm not sure where the policy is going to go, because I could see it kind of being a turn back to finding all of the common threads in these peace plans, starting with Carter, what's been common throughout. But I could also see it potentially maybe taking a radical shift depending on what the people we talk to in the region kind of have to say. So that's almost exactly 2 minutes, so I'll give you guys some time to ask clarifying questions.
So you feel like you already have at least 3 primary sources in mind to interview?
As interviews?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who, in terms of the interns and other folks we might come across on the day trip, because it's going to be a policy paper, I'm not looking to really quote them as sources. I'm looking more informally to gather kind of a sense on the ground of what's not negotiable. So I'm not looking at them as as source material so much. I'm more looking at them as just trying to get a pulse on what's feasible on the ground.
Give you context to the platform that you'll create for the next president.
Because I'm going to have so much primary source material in terms of every president's platform.
I think it's a really cool idea.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really unique. It'll be interesting to compare and contrast the different peace plans that they've come up with over the years. And I think it's really cool that you are then, with the upcoming election, offering this is what the policy should be based on what you've researched and seen on the ground. I think it's a cool idea.
Do you think that you're going to want to find, so these guys that you have in mind, Hashem and are you wanting people who already have ideas to give you ideas, or are you just wanting to like hear, kind of capture what you can, understand what you can about their stance, and propose your own idea? Like, I guess, you know, like, are you wanting kind of bits and pieces of arguments that are already there to build on, or do you want to?
I don't know whether or not they're like kind of one and the same, but what I'm imagining essentially is that like the folks that we come in contact with can be like my very own Bashir and Dahlia from the Lemon Tree, right? They're like, in a lot of ways, they're just like representative people who have representative opinions, but then like I don't think that I necessarily have the contacts right now to like find a policy expert where I could like draft policy based on like this person.
Well, I was wondering about Seeds of Peace in that way. Do you feel like they? I mean,
it's a really good question.
They do a lot around conflict resolution, right?
Right.
But I mean, they're going to be to me the biggest expert. The experts in that way. Could you build on what they've already done around the work?
Yeah, that's something I'll have to look into. But yeah, it's a.
And maybe
really, I hadn't even thought about it.
What I'm interested in is what the Palestinians and Israelis themselves think about U.S. peace plans in our perspective.
Yeah.
Because I think we assume that like we kind of set the tone, or like, you know, I don't know, maybe we assume that it'd be interesting to see what our role is in their perspective. Do we play as large of a role in this process as we maybe assume that we do? You know, like, and then also that article I forwarded you guys the other day makes me think of the U.S.'s policy with Israel has changed, I would say, recently, and that they've talked about, you know, recognizing this new government in Palestine, that's this joint government between Gaza and the West Bank. And the Israeli government was not very excited about that we immediately, because they're not recognizing them because of Hamas from Gaza. They still recognize as a, you know, terrorist organization. So.
And that takes us, go ahead.
I'm sorry, yeah, so I think that would be a question I would have for like the people we speak with, is like, what do you guys view?
How
What
do you
role
feel
is
about
Americans
American
like?
help?
Does America need to be a part of this, or what role, or?
Yeah, I would be interested in. Well, I wonder if on the one hand it would benefit us not to espouse ourselves as Americans. I don't know if that's going to be possible.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, I wonder if getting and pulling in some sources that are different perspectives from the UN, from around the world, that are not American on this, could be powerful in your trying to create. I know that it's impossible when you're situated, right? Like we are from our culture, but to as much as you can to strike some neutral ground.
Other I wonders, we've kind of moved into that naturally, which is good.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I wonder how you can keep this accessible to our students. The content of it, and without watering it down.
Yeah. Well, what's the expectation with these papers? Like, they're going to be used as models?
Yeah, I mean, we want,
So they are going to read the entire paper?
Not necessarily, but they need to, we want them to be exemplars, so we want them to be able to.
I mean, you're not writing a dissertation, right? It'd be
No.
great if we could use this as, to help out Seeds of Peace or whatever, like if they,
Right.
you know, in any way, but really it's for our kids to be able to.
I think you can do it in a fun way, in like a
Yeah.
cool way, like almost just like a short op-ed, like an article, you know, like to the, like, dear Mr.
Yeah,
President.
something
like,
you read in National Geographic, something you read
yeah,
in.
like almost like a letter, like to the president. Like, I don't know, something that.
Yeah, but still sticking to an academic argumentative format.
Right.
But that's cool because then they get to see what voice could look like in an argument, but still remain academic.
Yeah.
I wonder too is if you get to the point, you know, you could always tell Seeds of Peace if you want something more fleshed out than this, if you want something higher level, more academic, we can do it. We're creating something for students as a mentor text.
Okay. I worry about playing too much with tone in outside an academic text, I
And
think
what
that's a pretty
messages it'll send
advanced
okay.
writing. I don't know. I also, like, to be frank, worry about it because I think it's just a difficult thing to do as a writer.
Yeah.
It's like really maintain.
Mhm.
Yeah, I forgot that you're specifically writing in academic. I forgot that's.
Well, it's argumentative. I don't know. We could go back and look at it.
It'd be
It's
cool if you to
interesting.
play with, I mean, maybe even on our website, taking chunks and doing it more like feature style.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with maybe pictures and stuff as well, so it's like kind of spices up and compare for students, like, this is how this looks in academic form, this is how it looks in this genre. Like,
Oh,
with more
I
voice,
really like that
with
idea.
more voice, with more spice.
So yeah,
metaphorically.
and you could almost put those in different sections of the website. So it's like, you have like the same paper, and then my
They could-
work
yeah,
almost
same
hits
content,
all three.
different-
Like,
yeah.
you've got like this research component of it. Now you have this argumentative component of it, and like a feature thing that like
Mhm.
pulls some information but plays with voice and tone and whatnot. Okay,
Next
we've got a couple minutes left for next steps. So here's what I've
Sounds
got
like-
so far for
so-
next steps
yep.
is like looking through Seeds of Peace and what they have from like a policy platform and expertise point of view. Developing some interview questions, not just around like the like technical pieces, which I'm already thinking about, like the technical pieces of a platform, but also like, to Carney's point, Israeli and Palestinian attitudes towards U.S. involvement in the peace process. That's something I haven't thought about a lot, so I want to go there. And then now it sounds like I really need to work through like, I have a pretty strong sense of like the academic component and even like how the individual, like Carter's platform versus Bush's platform, W's platform, etc. Now it's like, how do I work inside